My name is Emma Wertheim. I'm a yoga and meditation and sacred dance teacher, and I have a special interest in Yoga Mudras, and that's yoga using the hands. And today in this session, we're going to be looking at what mudras are and how you can benefit from using them. And also there'll be a time later in the session, about halfway through, where we're going to have an experience of using a number of mudras together. And I've specifically picked those mudras for a few reasons. They're ones that I love and I use myself. And they are also really beautiful for opening our heart center, which I think is something we can all benefit from. Also accessing our intuition. And one mudra in particular is all about abundance and working with the laws of attraction. So it's going to be a fun little workshop. And just want to reassure everyone, no matter your yoga experience, everybody is welcome at this workshop. All you need are hands, obviously, and a willingness just to enter into this with an open heart and an open mind. And I guess I need to start at the beginning. So how did I come to work with mudras? Well, I've always had a spiritual search for as long as I can remember. I'm sure some of you are familiar with that. And I dabbled in lots of things as a teenager, different spiritual traditions and religions. And in 1995, I found an esoteric spiritual school. And when I found this school, I really felt as though I'd come home, and it was my kind of spiritual home, I guess. And why I'm really sharing this is because that school, it evolved out of the fourth way movement of the 1970s. Some of you may have heard of that. And there's a lovely alignment with yoga philosophy. So the reason I'm actually sharing that is because the school has a foundation in meditation and breath and energy. So from that time, I've had a daily meditation practice, and what I found is when I work with mudras along with meditation is that mudras really come to life. So those two modalities paired together is where mudras kind of sing, for want of a better word. And you can still use mudras on their own. So even, I use mudras during my day, and I'm not necessarily in a meditative state. So they can still be of benefit, but I really do encourage people to try them when you're meditating. And then in 2016, I did my yoga teacher training, something I really always wanted to do. And I got really sick, like really, really sick. And I couldn't walk for a time. I struggled to brush my teeth, that kind of thing. And I had to take time off work. And while I was doing my teacher training, I obviously couldn't do asana practice. So I started researching yoga philosophy. I could read, but I just couldn't kind of do much else. So that's when I discovered mudras. And I became really fascinated with them. And to be honest, my mental health was really suffering at that time. And I wasn't able to meditate because meditating actually takes energy, even though it looks very passive. So what I did was I started using the mudra of meditation, which looks like this. So this is Dhyana Mudra, and I'm sure you've probably seen it. This is one that the Dalai Lama uses all the time. It's very big particularly in Buddhist tradition. And so what I found was, although I couldn't meditate, when I took this mudra, it like triggered sort of a muscle memory in my body of meditation. And I wasn't meditating, I was literally just sitting like a couch potato doing this. And so I was just really curious, like my whole body felt calm. Over time, my mental health improved, and I also got a correct diagnosis, which also helped. And, I was also seeing doctors, but this made a huge difference. It just got me back into meditation. And I think it can be sort of explained, like I've heard there's scientific evidence that if you're feeling down or negative, if you smile, it actually releases chemicals that make you feel happy. So you might be down, but you smile and you feel better. And I feel like mudras do the same. It's like they actually trigger some sort of reaction in the body. And I will go into that in more detail in a minute. So that really just sent me down a bit of a rabbit hole. And since then, I've been exploring all different mudras, and there's many hundreds of them. So I suggest you just pick one or two and go from there. And really what I'm all about is just sharing very simple ancient wisdom. I don't like getting too technical, so I hope that resonates with you. So what are mudras? Well, the word itself is a Sanskrit word, and Sanskrit is the Indian classical language, and that language was divinely given. So there's a beautiful energetic resonance and sacredness in all the Sanskrit words. So the word mudra means lock or seal. And what that actually means is you're locking or sealing in a particular pathway of energy in your body. So mudras activate prana. So prana is energy. So prana runs along pathways within the body, like meridians. And in yoga, they're called nadis. And nadis are like the wiring. So prana is like the chi. So all our fingers of the hands actually connect to every part of our body, as do the feet, like reflexology, as do the ears. That's why when you get like a Chinese massage, they can be kind of rough on your ears. It can kind of hurt, but it's activating the whole body. So we've got hands, we use them all the time. So we may as well use mudras. They're just so simple. So when we, so the fingers also connect to all the chakras. So when we are making different shapes, we're telling our body to make different pathways. So making different shapes with our hands, making different pathways. And a really lovely way to visually explain that is Jnana Mudra, which I'm sure you are all very familiar with. It's a very, very popular mudra, and it's popular for a reason, because it's so beautiful and it makes you feel instantly grounded and calm. So often in yoga asana classes, they put this mudra with different poses. And what this mudra is actually doing, the thumb actually represents, well, it connects to the solar plexus, and the index finger connects to the heart chakra. So we are telling these two energy centers to have a relationship with each other. So you might feel a warming sensation in the heart. You might suddenly feel a bit more grounded because of the solar plexus. And because we're activating these two chakras, we're also telling our heart to connect to the higher chakras, and we're telling our solar plexus to connect to the lower chakras, which is why it's so balancing and so harmonizing. And the word itself, jnana, means wisdom. And I like to, or in my work, I feel like it's heart wisdom because it's all about the heart center. And I use this one when I'm out in shopping centers and I'm feeling overwhelmed. It's very discreet. No one kind of looks at you like you're insane, which is nice. And I just find it a really accessible, beautiful mudra. And I'll also mention that the fingers also align and connect with planetary energies as well, because if anyone's familiar with palmistry, that the fingers all connect to different planets. So there's a lot of energy we can potentially work with. And what I really do love and admire about mudras is that we can really self-direct our own spiritual growth and healing. So, for example, if we're going through a challenging time and we might be facing quite a big fear in our life, we can use Abhaya Mudra, which looks like this, and it's a very strong kind of mudra. And if you'd like to try it, you can kind of feel straight away like there's a certain strength in that. It's almost like you're saying stop or go away, or there's like a power in it. So what we do is we're facing a fear in our life. We can sit with that fear. We can do this mudra and we can really face it in our mind, that fear, and then we can let go. We can release it. And this mudra helps you do that. And I've been using it recently actually, and my experience of Abhaya Mudra has been quite interesting because I have actually felt my whole nervous system calm down when I do this. It's like the fear causes an anxiety in my body, but when I do this mudra, it's like it settles it. So I encourage you after this workshop to really explore them for yourself. Get your own feelings about them, and whatever those feelings are, they will be right. So another way we can self-direct our spiritual growth and healing is using, say, Shankar Mudra, which is all about speaking your truth. So if you're facing a situation in your life where you're having trouble expressing yourself, or you're in a work situation where you know that you need to actually talk to your boss about something and it's causing you stress, leading up to that, you can use Shankar Mudra. It's a bit of an unusual mudra. You wrap your right hand around your left finger, and then you bring your index finger of your left hand to touch the thumb of your right hand. It sort of looks like a bit of a shell. It's meant to be like a sort of a conch shell look. So you'd use that in front of your throat chakra, and that actually activates your throat chakra, and it can help you express yourself. And just doing that, you might feel a warmth. And if you feel nothing, that's fine too. Mudras can sometimes be subtle and take time. So there's just so many examples I could give you. There's another one called Makala Mudra, which is where you make a kind of a beak with your hand, and you can use this one for healing. And this is you place it on different areas of the body that need energy. And this mudra, the translation in Sanskrit is about, it's a healing ray of light. So that's what you imagine when you use this mudra, and you just place it where your body needs support. And funnily, I find, it might be a bit unusual, but when I go to sleep, I sometimes do this one on my throat center. I'm a double Gemini, so communication is very important to me. So I just sometimes naturally just fall asleep like this, and sometimes I do it on my third eye. I don't know why, but my hand just gravitates to these places, and I trust that my body knows how to heal itself and what it needs. So I just go with it. I think it helps. So there's so much more I could say, but I am aware of the time. And but before we go into the meditation and the visualization using mudras, I'll just also say one more thing about mudras, and that's something. It's just an example of their validity, I guess, and that's that they're used by different spiritual groups and traditions and have been for many thousands of years. And I think that says a lot about mudras. And they're used by Christians, by Buddhists, by Jainism, by Taoism, and Hindus. So I just feel it's sort of like a language that crosses borders and boundaries.